All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Zenfolio Live. I am Robert with Zenfolio. Thanks for joining us today on the live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about building a successful senior portrait business with Ray and Becky Viglione. They're going to be jumping on here in a second. We're going to talk about things like marketing, your customer life cycle, booking tools, as well as packages and all kinds of great tips for you guys. Hey, make sure you say hi to us in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know what you're photographing typically or what you typically like to photograph. And if there's your first time hanging out with us, just make sure you say hi to us. I see Tristina saying hi to us. I'm going to do a shout out to Dawn, Ernest, Kathleen, Robert, and Dan. Thank you guys for jumping on here. We've got Ian Vaughn saying good morning from the Southern Highlands in Australia. New South Wales, East Coast, 4 a.m. here. Wow. Ian, thanks for jumping on here and hanging out with us at 4 a.m. That's amazing. That's dedication. Well, hey, hanging out with me today, taking care of you guys in chat, helping me with questions. Make sure that you show our moderators some love today. We've got Dennis joining us. And last time I talked to Dennis, he had his trumpet in the background. So, you guys, I think we're getting pretty close to getting him to jump on here and play it live for us sometime in the near future. If you guys maybe bug him about it in chat, maybe we can get him to do it one week. In the way of announcements, yesterday we did Wide Angle Wednesday. Hopefully you guys got to catch that. That's our Facebook live stream that happens every month on the first Wednesday of the month. That goes live on our Facebook at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. You can watch that on Facebook, or if you want to join us on Zoom for that, and if you're watching on YouTube, the link to register for that is below the video in the description. You can register for Wide Angle Wednesday. If you're watching on Zoom right now, I'll get Dennis to throw the link out for you guys to register for Wide Angle Wednesday if you want to catch that. Lots of great tips given out yesterday. We talked about elopement and micro wedding photography. Next week on Zenfolio Live, we're going to be talking about street photography. I'm going to give you guys some ideas and some tips on how to bring customers to your gallery, so make sure that you join us for that. Today, after the live stream, I'm going to be hanging out in the Zenfolio Lounge. If you guys haven't joined us, we have a lot of fun. It is a Zoom meeting that immediately follows this live stream. We turn on the cameras, we chat about photography, share some photos sometimes, and just get to know each other and just have some nice casual conversation. So if you haven't joined us for a lounge, Dennis is going to be sharing that link with you guys in the chat. Make sure that you grab that link up and join us after. Make sure if you see that link and you want to join us, go ahead and copy it. And don't forget the password is F11. It should be easy for you guys to remember, F11, right? So make sure you join us for that. Lastly, in the way of announcements, we are encouraging you guys to share your favorite spring photos on Facebook, on Instagram. And when you do that, make sure that you're using that hashtag Zenfolio Photographers for a chance for your image to be featured either on the Zenfolio Live intro, and we're going to share those again a little later on, or on our social media platforms. So make sure that you use that hashtag Zenfolio Photographers for a chance to be featured. All right, guys, that's all that I have in the way of announcements for today. So why don't you guys join me in welcoming our guests? Super excited to have them with us, Ray and Becky Viglione. If you guys want to turn your camera on, tell me how terrible I did at pronouncing the name, and say hi to everybody.
That was the Italian pronunciation.
You say that was the Italian?
Pretty close.
Okay. And we kind of went over this, but I knew I would forget it. So just so maybe I won't mess it up the next time I have to say it, it's Viglione, right?
Viglione.
Viglione. That's
Viglione.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually pronounced how it looks like it should be pronounced without putting the Italian thought behind it, I think, right?
Or pronouncing that E at the end.
Exactly.
There we go.
That's the part that always makes me cringe.
There we go. Well, how's your guys' week been so far?
Good. I was out of town for a week, so I just got back yesterday, and
temperatures are great.
Yeah, we can't complain about the weather. So
right. It's beautiful. And you guys are up in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes.
Pennsylvania
is close to Pittsburgh.
The skies are beautiful up there right now too, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for once we see blue skies and clouds.
You're not getting all the pollen like we're getting down here in North Carolina.
Oh no, there's lots of pollen out there.
Oh, is it up there? Man, it's just everywhere.
Yeah,
you guys in chat, you guys getting pollen too? Is everybody getting pollen everywhere? Is it just plaguing us all right now?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's see. I want to talk a little bit about how you guys got into to doing senior photography. I don't know if you guys want to share your story together or if it has separate beginnings. Totally up to you. I'll let you guys decide how you want to do that. And guys, if you have questions as we're going through this, make sure you get those in the chat. We will be answering your questions live as well. So make sure you get your questions in the chat.
Yep. You
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I started the business since it's my last name. So I went to art school, graduated from there, and I was actually a commercial photographer for probably 6 to 8 years after graduating. And when I was left that last company, it was 2 companies in a row that I worked for. Then I said, I'm just starting a business. And I did. About 6 months after leaving, started the business in '93. And out of a home where we are now, but I was in my home, a different home, and then said, let's try to do some seniors. So we did some marketing and things like that. We got a space, rental space, and our first class was the '96 graduating class, and haven't looked back. But we did leave that space and built onto our home here, where we have our studio in our home now, comfy.
That's amazing.
But
And you said your first class was when?
'96.
96.
And now some of those, I just met another one, our parents, and they have kids that are seniors. So I'm photographing the seniors of the seniors I photographed.
Don't they make a badge or something for that? Or maybe a trophy, I think.
I don't know if I'd want that bad.
Yeah, funny.
I prefer that they remember me as young as possible, I guess. I don't know. I joined him in '98 on this adventure, and I do my own independent contracting as well. But yeah, we've been doing this together since then, pretty much. So we've seen a lot of changes between the '90s and today.
Film to digital.
So were you doing this and then she joined you? Did you guys kind of start it together? She joined you, right?
Yeah, I joined. We both went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, just in different years. We're 11 years apart. So, yeah. And from there, we met each other working in the industry, and just it worked out. I started working at the studio, and yeah, the rest is history. We've been married for 13 years. So
wow. So you guys have seen a lot of change. Do you miss film?
I do.
I don't.
We're quite different sometimes.
I mean, there's a few things I miss about film. Probably the main thing is just shooting so little. You know, we would shoot like, 50, 60
max
on a senior. Now we shoot like 500, 1,000. It depends on the session, obviously.
But I get screamed at a lot.
Oh, it can be horrendous.
I really need to control myself. But
the time on the computer, processing the files
and
things, editing, obviously, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's so funny. Whenever we talk about film, I always feel like such an awful photographer because I've never shot a single roll of film. And like, there's so many of us at Zenfolio that are huge into film. Richard, who moderates with us sometimes, like strictly shoots film still. Yeah. I think Dennis still does some film, if not strictly film. So I always feel like, I don't know, I almost feel like not a real photographer for never having shot on film ever before. I know that's not the case. That's something I personally got to work through, but it's just funny when people talk about that.
I have a feeling it's kind of making a comeback because I do meet different people, different photographers and things. And one recently I met, he's definitely getting it back into it. He's looking for 35 bodies because he has Canon stuff. And he said, oh, I bought a press camera. I bought an RB, which is a Mamiya RB, what do you call it? 2.25 camera. I'm like, what are you doing with that? I mean, it's like a $5,000 camera.
I missed that camera.
He bought old lighting. He bought this stuff. It's called Speedotron. I don't know if you know anything about it. It's old commercial lighting. He bought a bunch of it. I'm like, why?
Hey, I still have a Novatron kit. I never shot film, but I found a Novatron kit like on Craigslist when I first got into photography, and I've used that thing so much. It has the power pack and everything.
Yes.
I love that thing. It has been a crazy workhorse for me. So what do you guys love about photographing seniors? because I know you mentioned you kind of wanted to do some seniors. Was there something initially that got you interested in it? Was it one of those things where it's like, well, that's where the money is at, and then we learn to love it, kind of things?
I mean, just it was the thing that I was more like geared towards, meaning, you know, I started the business doing weddings, and I was like, I gotta do more than weddings. So I'm like seniors, and I saw the market open, and this was 90, 94, 95, and there weren't many photographers in our area doing seniors. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do them, I'm gonna market them. And at that time, there was a local, and I don't know if they're still in existence, Triangle Photography.
No, they're gone.
Anyways, that was Triangle was like Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia Photographers Association. Kind of
Part of PPA.
yeah, part of
just
PPA.
your central, location where you can get together.
So I joined them and did some classes with them, and met some neat people, and started. Anyways, so just started doing the seniors marketing. Did the marketing with cards, mailed out cards to people, bulk mail, stamps, all that kind of stuff. Got a lot of seniors in. We did have a what do you call it, rep program back then, a long time ago. Worked out well.
Nice.
One year we did like 500 seniors. I mean, and we're talking like not just yearbook seniors. We're talking like full sessions between Becky and I from 90.
Yeah.
Wow.
96
Those were,
to
I don't even
2000.
know how we did it, to be honest with you. I mean, we were working like 60, 80 hours a week each.
Oh, easily.
And I remember there were nights where I didn't go home. I would actually,
Yeah.
we had big pillows as props. So I would throw them on the floor, throw a couple big muslins on them, and call it a night and sleep for a few hours. And then I'd get up and just start working again. So those were crazy years. Yeah, I don't know why we ever did. I don't know why I agreed to do that.
It was way before there were a lot of other photographers.
Yeah. There were probably only about
there weren't
five other really good photographers.
Yeah, and they all had
Pittsburgh.
studios like ours. There was like that was the thing to do, not not just have a job and be a photographer on the side, which is.
So through the years of photographing seniors, what is something that you really enjoyed? And maybe it started out as one thing. It definitely sounds like it started out as seeing an opportunity there, but throughout it, what is the thing that keeps you guys doing it? Is there something that you enjoy really? Because I know like when I do some senior work, it's always nice to see like their energy, especially when you get the ones that are super excited about taking that next step in their life. I mean, that's really nice to see, and that's something I really enjoy. But just curious what you guys enjoy.
Yeah, no, I have photographed most of the senior girls. He photographs most of the senior guys, and I think it's the energy, like you said. I mean, I love how vibrant they are and how excited they have. They still have all their life ahead of them yet, and it's cool to hear about what they want to do and where they want to go, and it makes me feel young too at the same time. Just trying to
she's right.
And just trying to keep up with them, at that level. I mean, there's times where I'm out there shooting and I'm laying down in the grass and they're laughing at me because they're like, look, she's laying in like the mud. So, some photographers go out there dressed up, but not me. I'm like out there in the grass, checking myself for ticks afterwards.
Oh, absolutely.
And, it's just, it's fun. So I wouldn't give up seniors. I gave up weddings last year after 21 years. It was never one of my favorite things to do. He gave up weddings in like 07, 06, somewhere right around there. And, so we have other genres that we photograph. It's just that the seniors really keep us on our toes. And
it's just a good age. We like that age,
yeah.
That age bracket of 17, 18.
Yeah.
They're just
such a fun age. They're just at that transitional period.
I mean, there's so many cool kids that do different things and whatever, if they're into horseback riding or their sport or hunting or whatever. So,
and it's always changing. Like every year, the seniors are different. It's not consistent one year to the next, what they want or what they're looking for. Like I remember the days where it was like they were so super nervous to come in, or they wanted a certain picture and they wanted to be able to pick out the picture that went on their mom and dad's wall. Now we're seeing like kids who, I think I had at least 3 of them this past year. They're like, you are not putting my picture on your wall, mom. So like, or they've shot so many selfies that this just, they feel uncomfortable with somebody taking their picture because it's not like the same kind of camera or lens, and it's just like, oh, this is kind of weird. And it's like, actually, no, let's try it. Like, so they change from year to year. You kind of know what to expect, but sometimes it'll throw you for a loop. So
Wow, it's amazing. What are some of the more unique experiences with seniors that you had? You mentioned in the mud, checking for ticks. I think that should follow any good shoot, to be honest. But what are some of the more unique senior experiences that you guys have had?
we had the rope on our swing break.
Oh.
During the shoot?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the mom started busting out laughing. She's like, oh, did you get that on camera?
They didn't care about their daughter. They were like, we hope you got that photo of her falling.
We want that one.
It's 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
so
it's not far. Like,
but it was just funny.
it's we hang
rope.
it by hemp rope, and then we fray it underneath, so it's a real pretty setup. But it was just a little too dry on the one rope, so the one out of the 4 corners split.
And of course, the girl was like 90 pounds or something.
Yeah,
she was like it wasn't like she was just tiny, and we were just loud, like, really. She was like, I can't believe I broke your swing.
Yeah.
Funny.
She gets up apologizing like she did something wrong, right?
Right.
Well, hey, Ray, you mentioned this earlier that you talked about having a senior ambassador program, and it sounded like that's something that you used to do. That's not something that you guys do now, or is it something that you do?
Yeah, we tried it maybe 10 years ago, getting
A
back.
second time,
Yeah, because we had stopped it for a while and then got back into it. I don't know, it's just not a fit. I don't know how else to say it. It's not a cup of tea. It's just seems like, what do we give them? What do you do? We do have some friends in the industry that do use it. I don't know. It works for them. So it's like anything, if it does or it doesn't work for you.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to say it.
I think I'd be more attuned to going back to it if I did it where I brought in a bunch of people at once and did like group sessions and kind of did specific stuff for me for marketing, and also gave them pictures at the same time. I know there's a lot of photographers that do it a lot differently than what it was set up to do like years ago, and it works a whole lot better for them. But we're in an area where a lot of people around, I guess you want to say, the Pittsburgh area, they do not like to travel outside of their area. So it makes it a little more difficult to get the different schools to get them to come. If they have to drive more than 15 minutes, it's like, ooh, that's kind of pushing it for them. But we just got to find a new way in to the senior rep program, a different way of doing it for it to work for.
It seems that some of the photographers in our area are just basically making everybody a rep. And I don't want to go on about that, but it's just what they do is, because we have a dance school, our local dance school, and they're like, every kid from that school said the same thing, because I asked them and they're like, oh, this photographer, and it's the same photographer.
Right.
He made me a rep. I'm like, well,
yes.
Okay, then she made the other friend a rep, she made the other one a rep, she made the other one.
Everybody
so basically they're just giving them all.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've heard people say mixed things. I've heard people say, we did an ambassador program and it changed our lives. I've heard people say we did an ambassador program and it was a disaster. That it was one more thing that I had to manage on top of all the other things that I had to try and manage. So I've definitely heard mixed results. I mean, and I think it's one of those things that comes down to personal preference and how you're doing things and how you want to do things. So
yeah, it really does take a lot of time to really coordinate everybody and then set it up and run it and stay on top of what's coming up in the couple months ahead of that to make sure everybody's on on target.
And plus, at the stage of our career, I mean, we're just not interested in like a lot of volume anymore. You know,
Yeah.
You guys are
work
kind of
less,
ready to
make
take it a
more.
little easy, right?
We probably want to photograph anywhere between 90 and 125 students.
See, that's so powerful that you know that. So many people think they want to do just as much as they can, but when you really know that sweet spot of this is what I want to do, this is what I need to hit, and when you know that, that's so powerful. And I think I wish more people would know that about their business of this is what I want and need to do to be where I want to be.
Well, I mean, we've been doing it for
Yeah.
30 years. So.
We used to have, there was another photographer out on the other side of Pittsburgh that we used to compete with to see how many sessions they booked. So every week.
Well, that's the guy that has the rep program. That's the guy that has the rep program, yeah.
There'd be a call in. How many seniors did you book this week?
Yeah.
Well, we're up to 300.
Nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. I mean, especially if it's kind of up growth. Guys, we do see your questions. Keep them coming. I've got a few more questions I'm going to get to, and then we will take some of your guys' questions from chat. So if you guys have questions about the senior photography business or photography in general, make sure that you're hammering chat with those questions, and Dennis is going to be passing them over to me. So Ray, and this is another thing you kind of hinted at, but I'm curious if things have stayed the same or if they've changed. So you mentioned that you used to do like mailers and stuff like that, kind of marketing for your seniors. Is that something that you still do, or what kind of marketing strategies are you guys currently doing for your senior photography business?
We are doing as little as possible. I hate to say it that way, but I mean, honestly, because we built up a good reputation, let's put it that way.
Yes.
And we're really only marketing to our really local couple schools in our area to get that, 80 to 120 seniors, because I mean, the schools aren't huge in our area, but 300 seniors here, 300 there. When you do the numbers, you've got a couple thousand seniors in that marketing area. So you just, we mostly rely on word of mouth. I mean, honestly,
there's a lot
of
of
social media stuff, obviously.
Yeah, we try and work on the social media platforms. I have to admit, I'm probably the worst at Instagram. And I know that's horrible to say because I'm a photographer. There is one other photographer I ran across, and he hates Instagram too. But
he's a big name.
He's a big name. Yeah, I won't say who it is. So
he's a huge name.
But for the most part, I've tried like Facebook ads, things like that in the past. But a lot of it has come down now to word of mouth because, we've photographed so many people. I mean, even the parents, we've photographed their senior pictures. So now they've got kids that are high school seniors, so they know about us. But also just asking for referrals, asking for them to put something out there to just say what their experience was, just ask for it. And that a lot of people want to see the referrals or the ratings, and that helps out a lot when it comes to booking, especially these days, because we're always looking, no matter if you're looking for a service or a product, you're looking to see the overall rating and to figure out, do I want to do business with them, or do I just want to reach out to them and have a conversation about what kind of questions I have, that kind of thing. So I think that goes a long way personally now versus even 10 years ago, because people are so just interconnected, and either through Facebook or Zoom, and now Clubhouse, which I love. I don't get to hop on there much, but it's been great, to talk to different people, and it's a good way to get yourself out there and communicate and find other areas that you can help people in. So
I love that you talk about word of mouth. I mean, I think anytime I interview anybody who's doing really well in their photography business, I try to get them to talk about marketing. I try to get them to talk about what are they doing because everybody wants to hear about Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and all that stuff. But consistently, what I hear over and over again is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Is where most people are getting their customers, and it sounds like you guys have really. When you've been in business for how long did you say? Third. I don't want to put the number out
It's
there.
93. So I stopped
It'll
counting.
almost be
I stopped
50.
counting about 10 years ago.
There
But
we go. So
whatever that
you
is.
guys have established that yourselves in that area, and it's just that keeping that good rapport with your clients and that word of mouth going is so important. I think that I interviewed another photographer, and they said the same thing that it's all about the rapport that you have with your clients and that word of mouth.
Yeah.
For somebody looking to get started in this in their area, what would you guys recommend that they do for a marketing strategy if they're brand new, nobody knows who they are? What advice would you give them to start marketing themselves as a senior photographer?
I would say, first of all, you need a folio. So photograph, even if it's just a couple people, and get some basic education under your belt from either some online education, which I still do online education. I belong
She
to
does it all the time.
all the time. I have a double monitor set up. One's running Photoshop and I'm working, and the other one's in the background on one of my education sites. And you know, it's extremely important that you keep up with that, because working for yourself the way we do, we're not out there a lot. I mean, we work from home and we work for ourselves. And a lot of times we feel disconnected between us and the rest of the world. So you have to find ways to connect, and you have to figure out what's still relevant and going on in the industry, and what the seniors are looking for, and what any genre is looking for, really. I mean, because you don't want to be stuck looking like that 80s photographer when, we're in 2000, going on 2022 seniors. So with seniors, I would say, you know, try and maybe even get out there, create some kind of a folio that you can start with, get your website up and going. Also, do some kind of
Like an event
an event if you can
or
get
a
out there.
fundraising. I mean, not you do the
Charity.
fundraising, just join some fundraising event.
Yeah, if you know some of the parents of these students, maybe get involved with any charities that the kids have through the schools, where you can start chatting with them and hanging out and getting to know their personalities. And there's so many ways to start a business this nowadays that there weren't prior to. As far as the marketing goes, once you have some kind of initial folio and pricing system kind of set in place, then maybe take out a 3-day ad on Facebook, and just see where that goes. You'd be shocked at how many people you can book for something if you word everything correctly. So that's why I suggest, like, get some online education for that first, because if you just hop on and say, oh, I'm looking to book this many seniors, book now, and it's all about you, they're probably going to skip right over you, because it's not really all about you. It's about them. So you want to target in a way that makes them feel like they want to come to you. So
I was going to let you keep going. That was amazing.
what's that?
That was amazing. I was going to let you keep going.
No, because I could go on forever. You don't want to do that.
No, that was some great advice. I love that you talk about continuing to educate yourself. It's so important to identify yourself as an internal learner. That's something that I've really worked on, is just constantly trying to see what I can learn next. What can I figure out how to do? And guys, if you are not on Clubhouse yet and you're a photographer, which all of you listening should be, as long as you have an iPhone, you should be able to get on Clubhouse. You have a friend who's talked to you about it, ask them for an invite, because there is crazy amounts of free education going on there right now that you are missing out on. And if you're not on there, it's
Yes.
it's
Oh my God.
mind blowing.
So many great photographers on there that are just like willing to like let you hop on and ask your questions. It's awesome.
So I want to get to two more questions and then we're going to take a quick break and then we'll jump back and start answering questions from the chat. One of the questions I want to get to is one of the reasons that I asked you guys to come on here is because when I pulled a report to see who was doing a lot of senior bookings, some of the most senior bookings, you guys were one of the top. Now, not only were you one of the top as far as number of senior sessions that were booked, but when we were comparing different numbers, you guys were also up there with the amount of money that you were making for your bookings as well. So, can you talk a little bit about BookMe, how it's maybe changed and impacted your business? And then can you just share a little bit of what your customer life cycle looks like?
So prior to BookMe, there was another service that we had tried the year before, and it worked out well too. With when we switched this past year, it was because it was just so much easier to set it up, change it, and I didn't have any problems trying to do a link from outside onto the website. So I love that feature of it. One of the things that worked really well for me was that we could do like separate categories for different types of genres. So you've got the high school seniors, you've got the business portraits, you've got families, that kind of thing. But all in all, it's great because I've been able to alleviate a lot of phone calls that, you know, that basically took one person's job in June, July, and August, you know, because the phone would be ringing. At one point, we had 2 lines, and now we just have a cell phone that's connected to another cell phone, so it'll ring over and leave a message. But it's nice that we can just kind of let them go online, look at the information. If they have questions, they can call us, or they could just book it right then and there. And then what we definitely do is we set it up that we have to approve it prior to us accepting it. So that way, if there's some kind of scheduling conflict that we can see coming up, we can address it before they're able to actually just pay it and be done.
Yeah, we do have, I mean, the only reservation I have about it is, and it's nothing to do with Zenfolio, it's it seems a little impersonal, but we do have contact with, you know, obviously the person after that fact, a lot of contact. We're not, you know, we know who that person is coming in when they're booked for the session.
Absolutely.
You know, we approve, we text them, we go over lots of details and things like that.
And if you guys haven't checked out BookMe yet, I'm going to share Ray and Becky's site out in the chat for you guys. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'll go ahead and throw it in the chat on YouTube, but it is below the video so you guys can check it out. And I'm going to throw it in the link of Zoom. So if you guys want to check out their site.
And right now, just so everybody knows, we don't have the seniors set up to be able to book sessions because I'm getting ready to change everything and I have to make sure of our that everything's in our calendar first. So right now, even though book a session is turned on, the only thing that can be booked right now is our upcoming prom that we're doing. So you know, I have everything else turned off, I think, except business portraits. So but that's a bonus because you can decide if you want to turn a genre off because you're working on the pricing or whatever.
Yep.
And things like that. So yeah, so if they go and take a peek, they won't see the seniors, but you'll see how it's set up.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I love about it is that you have so much control over what is available and what's not available. It's such a cool tool. And then can you just kind of walk us really quick? What is your typical customer life cycle from the time they contact you and book you, and what does that usually look like?
Okay, so when they first book us, they do have to pay for the session in full online. And then we have contact with them after that. And when they come in for their session, they put half down towards an order minimum. And the reason we do that is because we've got so many sessions and we've heard in the past that, oh, I didn't get my daughter in, there were no time slots open, but yet somebody will take up that time slot and then we just have to, at this point in our careers, have a minimum order. It's just one of those things. So if they place half down on their minimum order when they come in for their photo session and half when they see their pictures. This year we may change it a little bit again and offer to do orders at the time that they preview their pictures. And a lot of people do that. We still do in-person sales, but not everybody can be here whenever they come in to see pictures. So we have them come in initially, sit down, look at all their images, pick out their favorites, and then they come back. We schedule time for them to come back about a week later and place their order. And so the whole life cycle takes probably about 12 weeks from the time that they're photographed to the time they get a finished order, if they keep things moving.
Is that what you were referring to, life cycle?
Absolutely, yeah. That was perfect. That was beautiful. I mean, if you have anything to add, Ray, definitely go ahead.
No, I always thought you were talking about like life cycle of like how long the customer, will stay our customer like 20 years from then and then bring their kid back.
No.
I was going like,
is that pretty typical though? That's amazing though, if it's pretty typical.
it is.
We get a lot of people come back. Yeah.
They did my senior pictures and now
and now I've done senior pictures of the newborns that I started with. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy when you get to that point. It's like, oh my God, am I really that much older?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't feel like I remember you being this little, it's like,
we used to do bunny photo sessions, this time of year, like with bunnies, and then we'd see that kid now as a senior.
And that's the one thing they always bring up.
Yeah, where's the bunnies?
Where's the bunny? I was chasing bunnies, chasing kids, photographing it all at the same time. I don't know how I ever did that. I was in my 20s and stupid.
Oh, well, we're going to take a quick break. Dennis is going to jump on here. I've also got some user photos I'm going to put up and share with you guys. And we'll come back and take your guys' questions on chat. So make sure if you have questions, we've still got about 20 minutes left for questions. So get those in the chat. And when we come back from this break, we'll start answering those. So I will see you guys here in just a minute. We're going to have Dennis hop on and then we'll take some questions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that light, bluey magenta.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's cool. Well, because
the clouds.
You got this on, and it's warming up.
Okay, hello everyone. Hi, thanks, Robert. Welcome and thank you all for joining us for Zenfolio Live. I'm Dennis with Zenfolio Customer Success. I'm happy to be your moderator today, helping out in chat. So Robert and our special guests, Ray and Becky, can answer questions for you live. Let us know if you have any questions. Enter them in chat or use that Q&A button if you're joining via Zoom. So let us know if you have any questions. We'd love to answer those. If you haven't yet registered for Wide Angle Wednesdays, please do so. It's really good fun. We have special guests and members of the Zenfolio team engage in photography discussions. So please join us for that. Look in the chat for the link to register for Wide Angle Wednesdays. And one last thing before I hand it back over to Robert, I just want to throw it out there that Photo Booker is around. It's there. It helps clients find photographers and photographers find clients. So everyone, when you're ready to take bookings, go to photobooker.com and you can find more info and sign up for that. Thanks again, everyone. Back to you, Robert.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. Some beautiful photos today, you guys. We had one from Susan Jones. Who else did we have? We had Shannon Livingston, and I forget what the other one was, but some absolutely amazing photos. Thank you guys so much for submitting those and using that hashtag. If you're wondering how to get your photo on here, that's all you need to do is just submit it, put it on Instagram and use that hashtag Zenfolio Photographers for a chance for it to be featured. All right, you guys, we've got 20 minutes left. I'm going to go to some of our user questions. This one is from Howard Holtzman. He said, just starting out, what would you do? And I think he's referring to getting your foothold in the business of the area that you're in. So I think we kind of went over that already. Becky, I asked you about, just starting out, what would you guys do to start marketing your business? And you shared a lot of great information. Howard, if that wasn't exactly what you were looking for, let us know, clarify, and chat a little bit what that exact question is. We'll be happy to come back to that one, but I just need a little bit more info for that. Okay, next question. Let's go to this one is from Cindy. I'm going to say it wrong. Cindy, please make fun of me in the chat, just like everybody else does when I get their name wrong. Cindy, I believe it's Cozy. She said, how do you present your seniors their gallery? Do you present it with minor edits? Do you upload the unedited photo? Do you have them come back and pick like favorites and things like that? What does that flow look like for you guys?
Yeah, so because I photograph so much, and I'd say he probably does too, but not near as much as I do. We do have them come back and look at all the images after we've done just a slight edit for like color correction, getting rid of, blinks, blurs. And he'll take some time and do some like a retouch so that they can see what a final image would look like, as well as, if he wants to make a few black and whites. Some people just can't visualize
Most people can't.
what they're thinking of. So we step in and do that. We don't use a ton of actions because we have the DxO set up through our plugins through Photoshop. So there's some things that we have, recipes that we've kind of designed ourselves that work better for us than just keeping actions updated in Photoshop. So for the initial appointment, for their preview appointment, we call it, we let them see everything. And we do it in Bridge. And that way they can just flag all their favorites. Their favorites will go up on the back end of the website as a gallery. And then they can access that from home, where they can then share it with family and friends and get dad's input, because dad's usually not here. It's usually mom and daughter or mom and son. Occasionally we get the whole family, but that way they can just kind of go over and pick their favorites and then come back about a week or so later to place their order, get any questions answered that they might have. The flow for us has worked really well.
We pre-schedule like everything, meaning that at the photo session, at the end of the photo session, we're scheduling the preview appointment. I mean, it's a long time. It could be like a 2-3 hour session. Could be a 4-hour session, depending on how it goes. And it's tiring, but we do it, and they're okay with it because they see the results. And so we pre-schedule their preview appointment and pre-schedule their order appointment as well.
Yes.
It's so important to do that, though, right? I mean,
it really is. I mean, we've been burned before where we've gone on location and then the parent will say, oh, well, I just want 2 5x7s. I'll be like, you spent 2 hours of my time for 2 5x7s. Like, no, I just can't do that at this point in my career anymore. So there's a lot of,
that's why we have the minimum orders.
That's why we have the minimum orders
and the deposits.
And the deposits.
The deposits get them to half their order.
Yeah.
Half that minimum.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
So it gets them to the minimum.
It gets them to the minimum.
Right. So I just have an issue with taking that full minimum order money before they've seen their pictures.
Right.
Because once they've seen their pictures, they're happy to give you money. They understand by that time how much effort you've put into their kids' session. They know there are things that they want from that, and you've kind of groomed them along the way to say, this is where I think you should go with your pictures, whether it be an album or something just for their wall. You get a feeling for each one of those customers from beginning to end of that. And, you kind of have an idea, like when they come in for their order appointment, I pretty much already have an idea of what they're ordering. So
And I just want to say one thing. We are definitely not like salesy.
Yeah,
Can't explain
we're
any
not.
better than that. We just, know that the stuff is going to be good and they're going to most likely like it. And we have a pretty good, as far as like a percentage, I don't know off the top of my head, but as far as how many sessions we do in the orders, I mean, obviously it's not 100%.
Yeah.
If someone tells you they have 100% ordering ratio, then they're probably lying. But I'm just saying.
But you let your work speak for
But like,
itself, right?
we're like 90% or something. You do 90
Yeah.
well, more than that, but
And we'll work with them as
95%.
far as like payments on their orders go. We usually split their payments into 3 payments. So, some of them forget they have that minimum amount that they've already put down sitting there. And to them, it's just extra money to play with, But, for the most part, it works out in their favor because it's kind of like a payment plan without being a payment plan.
No, I love it.
So,
Genius.
yeah, it usually in the end they've probably made 5 or 6 payments to us.
Nice. That's amazing. Another question from Cindy. She said, "How long do you keep your senior galleries and your store open?" I think she said she's been doing seniors since 2010, so she's hanging out with us. But she wondered, how long do you keep the seniors galleries available and like the store available for them to purchase?
So they can't purchase anything online with us. They have to come in and place their order. If they've been here before and they're ordering for their next kid, sometimes they will email their order to us and then we'll just send them an invoice to pay online. But
Especially since with COVID.
yeah, especially with COVID and stuff, a lot of people were doing orders by Zoom or whatnot, and I've done one of those. But most people still want to come in; they still want to see what's available. So, but we don't do a store, so they can't order. Seniors cannot order from creative senior sessions, we call them, online. If it's just a yearbook portrait session, that's different. They can order from that online. That's
And
not.
that's because you guys want to keep everything high touch with those selling sessions and all of that, right?
Well, not only that, but we have several labs that we use. Like we use Graphi Studios in Italy. So some of the products that we offer that are like storyboards or montages and things like that just aren't conducive to ordering online. So
Absolutely.
it's better for us to help them create a package that works best for their interests than for us to not be involved.
Absolutely. Earlier we had talked about again getting started with your business. What advice would you give for somebody who's just starting out? And one of the things you guys have brought up was doing fundraising events, which I thought is an awesome idea. I mean, just getting out and networking. But this question is, what are you doing at the fundraising events? Are you shooting the event? Are you giving away door prizes for maybe sessions with you? What kind of advice do you have for that as far as like marketing yourself?
When it comes to that, I think it really just depends on the event. So it's not one of those things where it's going to be the same every time. You have to kind of gear it to what they need or what they're looking for. So if you can go into everything saying I'm just going to give an 11 by 14 with a paid session, but that isn't always what people are looking for. Some people are at fundraisers because they want to give back so much more. So, you try and they're also looking for what are you giving back. So it just depends on the scenario.
Most of our fundraising things that have just been our customers that know of one or they are involved in one, and then they ask for the donation.
Yeah.
So that's
I think it gives you an opportunity.
we don't necessarily go to the event.
Right. Absolutely.
I've done things where I've photographed before. It just depends. I have a little girl coming up who got a Make-A-Wish, and she received a new play set, and they're a customer of mine. This is their 3rd child, and she's special needs. And I'm like, yeah, I'm more than happy to come photograph this event for you. And I'll, at that event, I'll be talking to other people and probably, hopefully, work with Make-A-Wish in the future. and also give out, either a gift basket, that doesn't have to be just all photography.
Correct.
Or I might give a gift certificate to different families that are there, or let them have door prizes, that kind of thing. This family is very special to us. Ray photographed the girl's senior picture. I photographed her wedding. I photographed all 3 of her kids now. And her and I are now on a very personal relationship basis where, when I spent some time in the hospital this past month, she was looking in on me like, how are you doing today? So it just depends on the scenario, and you really want to make sure whatever you're doing benefits them more than benefits you, because in the end, that's what they're going to remember.
Sure.
Absolutely. I love that. Love that. I was in a room the other day, and forget what room I was in. I was in a room in Clubhouse, and they were talking about having impact on people and how to network. And they said that people will forget about 20% of what you say. They will forget about 20% of what you do, but they will always remember how you make them feel.
Right.
And I thought that was such a good important lesson for take away for that.
Sure.
This is from Tristina. She said, when in your timeline do you send a contract?
We're bad about contracts, but we've never really felt it necessary, to be honest with you. I know it's becoming it's a bigger thing. We used to do a lot more contracts way back in the 90s and the early 2000s, especially with, taking just for model releases, that kind of thing. But to be honest with you, we have it listed on our order form what we're going to use your pictures for. And if anybody has an issue with that, they usually will address it then. But as far as a contract, we haven't felt the need to have them. I mean, we talk to our customers prior to them coming in for senior sessions. They kind of know what to expect. And
we do what's called pre-qualify. I mean, we show the person the pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to see our prices to know what to get into. We've done that where someone booked a session for the whatever price, and then when they saw the pricing of the pictures after that, they were like, wow, and which they're not extremely outrageous, but they are high, and so they didn't buy. Is what I'm saying. It's happened in the past. So now, and when I mean past, I mean 20 years ago. Probably for the last 10 or 15 years, we've been really good about when I say pre-qualifying, I mean taking the steps that so they know what the prices are, and then they're okay. We agree, and we're doing that.
And they know what the flow is here at the studio. And
this is what's expected.
If
if a customer doesn't know what's expected, how can you expect them to know what they're going to get into?
Absolutely.
I didn't say that.
With a lot of,
but it's like if they don't know, then they're not going to be. They're going to be questioning themselves. Why did I book this session?
Yeah, and I know that's
I mean,
getting into contracts can get into all kinds of different things. So that might not be the answer that she's looking for. So if she wants to clarify something in particular, then we
absolutely. And you guys are working with a lot of repeat business too. A lot of people that you've worked with already previously, and it's almost like a family feel from what I gather just listening, right?
Yes. Yeah, because they might be like, "What? You want us to sign a contract? What? Wait a minute!" Now there is this different genre that I'm starting to pre-qualify people for, that I'm taking independently. And I think with those particular types of sessions, it's going to be a little bit more elaborate. The pricing structure is completely different than what our pricing structure is for a lot of Viglione photography. And in that regard, I probably will do contracts.
Yeah.
Because then we're getting into makeup artists, hairstylists, that kind of thing. I'm not going to be booking people and then having them try and get out of it 2 days before. and be stuck with having to pay a makeup artist for their time because, you know, it's kind of late at that point for them to be able to take somebody else. So in that respect, I will, you know, be looking more at having people sign contracts before, if they're ready to book, but not typically our seniors. It's just, we haven't found it necessary to go quite that far yet.
You keep saying something that I love, pre-qualify, right? I think it's so important that that's part of your thing, choosing the type of people or making sure that you're working with the type of people that you want to work with. Knowing that not everybody is your client, knowing that maybe this person's not going to be the best fit for you mentally, physically, or your business. I think that's so important. I'm thinking that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we mean.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone is our customer.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the first thing I learned when I went from my commercial job to starting a business. Was that one of the first things they brought up at a meeting was, you have to know, the question is actually, who is your customer? Define who your customer is. So you have to go back and figure that out based on what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you want to do everything, then I guess everyone could be your customer. But
Right.
we've never said like we do all this kind of photography, you know, we do certain kinds.
Yeah.
Even though we can.
And then, I guess the bonus for us is that because we both went to the Art Institute, we both focused on our education as being commercial photographers when we were there. And he has such a diverse background in commercial photography, and we both do portraits. We're in kind of a category that's limited, you know, with photographers, because we can do both, and not most photographers can. So.
Love it. Absolutely. Well, guys, we got like 5 minutes left. We're going to get to one more question. Before that, I just want to remind everybody we are doing the lounge afterward. I know Dennis has thrown that link out a couple of times for you guys. If you haven't copied it yet, make sure that you copy it. Don't forget the password is F11. This is the last question that we're going to do, and then I'll give you guys a few minutes if you want to share anything, if you have any final thoughts or just anything you want to leave everybody with. This is from Oscar Marino. He said, what is your minimum order?
It depends on the type of session you want to do, like, or length of session, I guess. You know, we keep it small, even though it could be higher. This year, going into this coming year, it's going to be a $400 minimum, and that is on top of
the session
fee.
Absolutely.
So you know, we don't count that session fee towards anything. And the minimums, we keep them low just because we don't want to distract anybody from calling and getting information, because you could have somebody that wants to spend $6,000 with you. You might have somebody that just wants to spend that $400 with you. And being that we have customers, I had a customer this year who has 9 kids. I don't want them to feel like, oh my gosh, I can never do this for my next kid because I have 4 other kids in college or something. So, yeah, you know, we try to keep that minimum order at a level where it's going to make everybody happy. But most people spend twice or 3 times that much at least on their senior pictures. It's just a good starting point. So they might spend the $400, but we've had much bigger orders than that. Love it.
Love it. Do you guys have any last minute words of advice or anything you want to leave everybody with?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Don't work with your spouse.
Yeah. I can't believe we actually have worked together this long, especially in the environment we're in now, because for the last, has it been 16 years, we've had the studio at our home. I mean,
yeah, we opened it up in 2005 here at our home. We have almost 6,000 square feet. 2,500 of it is dedicated studio space, and the rest is living space.
But we're always here together.
I purposely put my office upstairs in our living space to be away from him. And he still comes up at least once an hour, and it drives me crazy.
Because I can.
And he needs a break.
I sense
And he
some
distracted
Zoom.
me.
I sense some Zoom teaching coming up in your guys' future on some master classes on working with spouses.
Yeah, that's probably a
we
good
could
one for us.
definitely be involved in that one.
I think that would be a good master class for you guys to do. All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. I do want to say thank you so much to everybody who hung out with us. Kelly, Kathleen, Ernest, Dawn, Christine, Carolyn, Lori, Cindy, Oscar, Tristina. Who else? I can't. My mouse just quit working. Sharks 408, Howard. Anybody is the name that I missed in. Thank you guys again for spending this hour with us. I'm going to open up the lounge here in a second. Ray and Becky, thank you so much for taking this time out of your day to hang out with us. You guys have given us such good advice. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing people. I'll be looking for your master class on working with your spouse. I'll be the first one to sign up. But thank you guys so much. Don't forget, you guys, next week on Zenfolio Live, we're going to be talking about street photography, how to get customers to your gallery. So make sure that you join us for that. If I don't see you in the lounge, I just want to say have a great weekend. Stay safe. Do something good for somebody. Say something nice to somebody. Lift somebody up. Give your spouse a hug. Let's all work together to make this world a better place because it could really, really use it right now. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see everybody in the lounge. Bye,
All right.
guys.
See ya.
Bye.